day, lords and ladies, and welcome back to Pillars of Eternity with me, Cornish-Knight. Now we are going to press back down into the darkness once more as we continue clearing out the ruins. At this point, we are pretty much under the assumption that, yeah, this place is some kind of like automaton construction facility. Judging from what we found, they've been ripping the souls out of things and putting them into things. So, how very quaint. Let's just see what else is in here.
Nice and quiet.
You can hear the crackle of energy. That's never a good sign, folks. And then there's that. Yeah, that could have been better, to be honest. Oh boy, that's never a sight you want to see when you come around a corner. Not at all. Right, so it's like the devices that we've been seeing, the stuff that sort of they rip out souls. This must have what they've used for removing souls, and there are lots of ash people again, turning to ash. How pleasant. Something in the ether hums and buzzes through your teeth. Right, up comes our hero. A haze of essence lingers over the body as faint and insubstantial as dust plumes in the rider's wake, yet as you draw close the whisper instructions echoes in your ear and anticipation warms your blood. Because that's not worrying at all. In the vision, you see the same stone machine approaching you approached moments ago, but from a different height and angle as if through different eyes. You heard rumours that some of your brethren were sent here months before, yet you see no signs of anyone being here. In fact, the cobblestones are covered in a fine layer of dust, ash. You know suddenly what this will cost you, and you are ready. And they're going to kill themselves, aren't they? Yeah, that's never a good thing, to be honest. The orders were clear. The effects of the machine in Silas Rilag were wearing off. A child had been born not far from Deerford recently, its soul intact. The machine would need to be activated. You and your companions take up your positions. You share a final look of affirmation between yourselves. You don't know your name and you don't know theirs, but you know that you're doing the work of the gods together. None of the rest matters. The two curved bands of stone in the middle of the machine grind into motion. They rotate in the opposite directions, picking up speed until they spin like fleshly greased carriage wheels. A wind shrieks through the cavern, accelerating at the stone rings. You press your hands to your ears and grind your teeth against the noise. You're about to shut your eyes when you glimpse new movement. Rows of triangular flaps around the machine open like petals. You don't know what's happening in the machine, but you find it ringing at your extremities, searing pain spread through your body, a hot knife separating every tissue and ligament within you. All the while it feels as if you're falling towards the machine, your stomach masses against your spine. What happens next is too fast to proceed. You awaken from your vision to find yourself kneeling and grasping for air, holding your head. You let the tiles between your knees gradually come into focus. As you catch your breath, you remember the strange scene you saw outside of Silent Liss, where several robed figures fell amongst a howling bulwark. Looking at the ashes scattered across the floor, it's apparent that the leaden key have been doing this, whatever it is, all over the Deerwood. Okay, so they're apparently the people responsible for the hollow-born children, the babies born without souls. Because that's not just totally disturbing or creepy at all, is it? Dear Lord. So, yeah. That's my theory anyway. Let's see if this is correct. So where's the mission? Mission briefing. The acolyte isn't sold a mystery ruins, blah blah blah. Perform the ritual to eyewitness outside a canon list, which means they must be doing it all over the deal. Where they thought one of the agents suggested that there were so this was to ensure that infants in the area would be born hollowborn. So yeah, so they're the people causing the hollowborn sickness. They're basically it's really, really bad. You hear running water and see a small stream that carves its way into the mountainside. Inspect the stream, wade into the tunnel. A salad bottom flickers and waves just underneath the water's edge, but as you look towards the tunnel, the bottom disappears into the darkness. From here, it's impossible to tell how deep it goes. However, a faint light plays along the walls of the tunnel. The echo of rushing water suggests that the tunnel and stream continue somewhere else. You take slow, sloshing steps towards the mouth of the tunnel, holding your upright, while the current tugs at your legs. Cold water leaves you gasping, and as it rushes past your waist, you fight to control your breaths. The stream bed soon drops out from under your feet, and the current pushes you towards the tunnel with growing force. The current pushes you through the tunnel, faster and faster, tugging you downwards over your head. The tunnel narrowly drops, leaving only a thin pocket of air. You take a deep breath before the current drags you under. Rays of light pierce darkness, but the current is moving too fast now for you to see more than a flicker of glimpses of jetting stone. A light winks at you up ahead. You approach at first fast, but you could be mouth of a second smaller tunnel. You might be able to reach it, but your lungs have started to ache. Grab the edge of the tunnel, continue with the current. Let's grab the edge of the tunnel. It's probably going to be one of these like legendary items that you can only get in these encounters. Yeah, let's do that. You wrap your fingers around the rocks lining the tunnel and peer into terminals the dead end, but something glints amongst the rocks. At the far side, reaching it would be a challenge for someone without strong lung capacity. I'll go forward because I've got high con. You pull yourself into the tunnel, executing a deft scissor kicks, while the passage narrows around you. At the end, you find a skeleton with the handle protruding from its ribs. You pull it free and push off from the wall, propelling yourself back towards the main tunnel. Swirling and tumbling through the darkness of the tunnel, you last see the light above you and swim and kick towards it. At last, your head breaks the surface. You go into your aching lungs and pull yourself to the edge of the pool. Crawling out of the water, you look at the cavern around you with a massive feeling back into your as you massage feeling back into your aching, cold, numbed limbs. You gain the item, the Rose of Salt Hollow, added to your inventory. And we're back out here, which is in the other chamber, am I right? Yeah. So what's this? Rose of Salt Hollow. A young weapon with a relatively short history, the rose was forged from blackened Umaran steel and topped with a wickedly thorny bloom of petals. The morning star's resemblance to the namesake didn't end with the head in long, faded black shaft, also feathers smaller thorns along the entire length, causing discomfort even to an armoured wielder. Haran Gist, a successful adventurer from Red's seaside village of Soaked Hollow, had gnarled weapon made after his friend joked about how nothing could grow in the alkaline soil of the home. Hakran used the rose to defend Soaked Hollow from bandits and to help his comrades kill two sky drakes who had made their lair near the road leading to the village. When Soaked Hollow no longer held the wonder for them that it once had, Hakran and his friends made their way to the Deerwood to seek their fortune in the ruins of El Glanfath, but were never heard from again. Okay, so I take it that that's probably his body that we dragged this thing out of. I wouldn't be surprised. Right. So we're back at the entranceway. Yeah, so we're back out here. We did miss something, didn't we? I think we did. There was somewhere else in these ruins we hadn't been. So we need to go there first. I'm sure it was down here somewhere. Yeah, it was down here. We didn't go through this doorway. And this is why, folks, you should always sneak. We are not particularly good at sneaking.
On the hunt.
But we should do it anyway, because we always walk into traps. That's the thing that does the most damage in this game. I'd hate to play it on a harder difficulty setting, where the traps, because like literally the traps are nasty. Like the traps are really nasty. So, and this is like on normal difficulty.
Aye?
So let's first deal with these black oozes. User routines. Everyone gets the buffs up, and we start killing things with wild abandonment. But yeah, like I'd hate to fight. Like this game is difficult. Like if you don't do all the side quests, which is what I did. I did all the side quests first, which means my characters are a bit more higher level than they anticipated for this mission. I can tell. But if you did this on a hard difficulty setting, the traps would be absolutely lethal. Because, yeah, as you see, like the traps are the things that are doing the most damage to me, by far. So, man, it's just nasty. Let his health come back up. Well, his stamina, I should say. Let's pop the lock here, which is easy. Got a nice little chunk of experience. Animated, yeah, they've been making them here. So, well, let's start off. Magical missiles smashed into him. They're going to do their stupid chain lightning thing they always do, which is annoying as sin. God, I hate that chain lightning, folks. But, there we go. We managed to tear him apart. He got a bad hit in with the sword, and the sword just killed him. And we're getting lucky all over the place. Excellent. I mean, at this point, these guys are relatively weak. Like, they're not super dangerous to us at this point. But we have a 6-person party who is relatively high level. Ooh, nice shield. Surfer plate. Stolen from the table of the org matron Soras from Faradus after he infiltrated the compound to assassinate her. Serga's suffer plate became the assassin's running joke. In the moment of his triumph, Foran pulled the iron plate from under the matron's lifeless head and held it up like a shield. Thinking himself quite clever, he took the plate and several of Sura's eating utensils to a local blacksmith and made a shield fastened from them. The sharp blade protruding from the front of the shield provided an excellent deterrent against foes at close range, and Foran took to wielding it regularly until he lost the shield and his arm and his life to Sura's daughter. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, like, that'd be one reason to come after him. It's an okay shield, nothing fantastic. And we've got a tiny animate. So we've got like a pet. I prefer Space Pig. I mean, we've had like a bunch of them. Hungry always for nations and gold. They were ruthless and fearless. Yeah, so this is basically an animate production facility.
Just say the word.
Margrin's fire casts light in dark places.
And we are back out here. So yeah, we've explored everything now. Not a bad little dungeon as dungeons go. Layout is relatively... It lends itself... This is the thing that you had to remember about dungeon dynamics, is that you want to have a dungeon which means that it gives the feeling of free choice to the party, which a circular dungeon does, while allowing it to be explored without too much complication. Good dungeon design really helps the flow of an exploration, especially in RPG games. It's one of the talents that you sort of need as a DM, in my opinion, as for D&D. It's that you want to have a dungeon which lends itself. This woman seems to emerge from the walls of the mountain. She's little more than a skeleton swirled in robes, and her gaze is fixed on the massive doorway. Male and female pair are often used in Baratheon iconography. If I recall correctly, they represent the god's cynical nature. Right. But yeah, I mean, like, good dungeon design is really important in D&D. Especially if you do a lot of dungeon, like, delving. You want to make it so the party feels like they can explore without having to go back over their own footsteps. Or at least they have a choice in how they explore and how it has, like, repercussions. So let's go to the Deerford Crossing. I'm going to probably go to the Twin Elms and do the stuff in the Twin Elms. Do a bunch of the side. I want to basically get... What I want to do is I want to get all the side missions out of the way before we progress the main story. We're more higher level than needed, but we should be able to do it. Payday. Everyone is getting paid. 450 gold. We've still got those two people in the dungeons. I'm not letting them out. I wish there was a way that, like, you could execute them or something like they did in Dragon Age Inquisition, where you determined the fate of particular NPCs once you became an Inquisitor. I mean, that was a really good mechanic. It was a shame that Dragon Age Inquisition. The problem with Dragon Age Inquisition was its pacing was so poorly done, especially the opening phase. They sort of, I think they sort of, if I'm being honest, I really think they sort of just shoehorned you into becoming, like, going straight to becoming an Inquisitor. Not so much open world exploration right at the beginning. Get the characters to the location, to the village, get them to become the Inquisitor, and then they can go out and do stuff. Because it was really easy to get bogged down exploring the world maps and stuff, where you couldn't really do a lot because you didn't have any of the Inquisitor abilities. Right, so let's rest before we go any further. Grieving Mother, you find yourself back in the space inside the Grieving Mother's mind. It is familiar this time, even though you feel you have seen countless births from this vantage point. Something fills you with unease. The sky has darkened and the mist has risen from the forest to hem you in. You hear something, the sound is strange, discontented, like a warped metal. You grit your teeth against the noise, and yet as it rises, the eerie melody drives the numbness from your limbs and clears a space in the mist. But the noise resolves into a dull tone, it resounds through your bones. You see your hands are in motion. And once again you're drawing forth life, something warm and fragile struggling into the world. The scene feels familiar, a moment you have lived and dreamed 1,000 times before, and yet something ominous gnaws at the edge. So we can focus on the child, or we can focus on the woman. Let's focus on the child, since that's supposed to be our job. As your hands move, you hear the sound of chimes, clear and sharp. You yet something distant seem to echo something else, wails of sorrow, tolling bells. It's impossible to tell. Draw the child forth. An explicit sense of dread fills your soul as the child makes push. A malicious presence seems to surround you, and you lean forward to seal the child. At least the baby emerges wet and ruddy from journey. A lifetime seems to have passed as the newborn moves from the womb to the world, and another seems to pass as you cradle the trembling child, waiting. The child cries out, its cries full of life, full of soul. The chime echoing in your thoughts, filled with it with welcome. The soul is blurred at the edges, as if you were viewing a soul form within a soul, but it's there, it's alive. The woman before you is weeping, and as her first cry, she hands reaches out for it. You surrender the child to her, something you have done many times before, and as your hands move, the dull clang sounds. You feel weight hanging from your wrist. You look down and see bones, tiny and malformed, hanging from a string about your wrist. They are heavier than they should be, and they clank together. They make a noise like funeral bells. The mother is too intent upon her newborn to pay you any heed, so you hide your wrist behind your back. You need never know. She need never know. Can't ever know. As you hide the bone charms, you shiver in relief with the premonition at the chill wind that suddenly sweeps the plateau. You wake up. Learn the grief of mother's past, discover the importance of the disturbing dream. And our other friend has stuff as well. A war criminal has arrived seeking employment. He was nearly set upon by brigands on the road, but your patrols intervened. To be honest, I don't see the point of these guys. Okay, yeah, like, it gives us extra security, helps you if your place gets attacked, because unless you're there to deal with it, your place always takes. Right, we're talking about his brother. It's more like it. If it was important to you, didn't notice.
Hope I didn't seem ungrateful back there in the battlefield. And you went out of your way. Got real close. Didn't expect that.
He clasped your shoulder. Adair stares off, focusing on some distant thing.
Foolish, of course. Why should I get answers? There's a world of Aethasians.
Oh, okay, so what would your brother have done? You did what you had to do, even the Wardens. The even Wide One was there if his actions were destructive. It doesn't seem like you put your faith on the wrong side. Yeah, what would your brother have said? That's the thing that matters, doesn't it?
I might have turned my back on my god when he needed me. That's all I'll ever know.
You don't need to know what your brother is thinking. If you trust someone implicitly, you don't need to know. Especially if you knew your brother as well as you did.
He'd tell me to trust him.
In the end, it was your brother, and you trust your brother's judgment.
Easier if I knew it was mine. But maybe I don't need.
It's a hard thing. I mean, I feel sorry for that character. Like having family on the other side of a war.
Hey,
let's see what she wants to say. This is going to be interesting. She is very strange, this character.
What's on your mind?
Indeed. Ooh, there's lots of stuff to ask her. Okay, I heard the name Watcher in your thoughts, and you remembered the birthing bell.
Your mind comes bearing questions, Watcher.
There's a slow chill, and for a moment it seems as though she's going to fade from your vision, as if she can't bear to be seen. Okay. So which ones do we choose? There is another name for some of your abilities. I see the word cipher in your mind, it seems, and sees its meaning. Though I do not train in such things, the title feels more of a cloak to the world cast on me and judges me for it. It is curious how a title such as that can define one, and at times be a source of such emotion, but comes from no one. But the voices of others, it is a curse of the world. I suppose I can see what she means. The world has many corners, and in some corners the name Watcher is more known. It's easier to title than others, and at times it is easier to wear. Placing a title upon what is unknown can dispel the fear of it. I did not fight it. I even believed it true, for I knew little of the ways of Watchers. It has even granted me strength. I was able to see thoughts of others, say to them, help guide souls. Watcher seemed enough, and the name seemed to matter little in the light of one's actions. What do you know about Watchers? I feel that they were once marked, hated. Such hate feels dimmed now. I can feel it. The hatred has risen up for other titles, but they burned bright in the past. Now hates have sifted, focused, and may fall under the same again, either on you or on me. Ugh, that's depressingly macabre. Okay. Yeah, what else was I going to say? What's that on your wrist? I walked again in your memories. This time it feels strange. I would like to see them again. Your vision gives way as you feel jagged marks of violence pass before. This time the path is easier. There's no resistance, and you're set upon a canvas. Harnessing her memories, focusing on ones you seek. There's a slow rush of warmth as you enter as before, circling the memory you said when you first met. You find yourself back into the spire inside the Green One's mind. It's a familiar this time, even though you feel you have seen countless bursts. Okay, so this is the same stuff as we've read already. Yeah. It all rises from hemmed us in. So yeah, basically this is where we've seen. So we've got to focus on the chimes. And we've got to focus on the woman's cries. The woman should be in pain, the natural pain of childbirth. You know this, but it's faint, distant, and you realise that soothing the pain with your mind, smoothing out the edges of the pain and relaxing her thoughts just enough so that she can still push from within, push the child forth. You are talking that pain onto yourself. The pain has layers. One is a pressure, a familiar welcome pain. The other is a razor at your consciousness, a more recent than this memory. And as you try to recall what you've reached this place, you feel the same hollowness inside you. Okay. So that's the same thing. That's the same thing. Yeah. That's the same thing. Slowly pull back, retreat from the memory. So this is all the same. That was the only difference, was that viewpoint. If you looked at the mother giving birth. I looked again in your dreams, thoughts, and then believed your memories. A mixture of curiosity and fear wells up between you. She raises her hand. The time of her wrist quells the rise within her. She is frightened, but curiosity anchors her. Okay, obviously we sort of asked about something else. Oh, we needed to ask about the wrist, the things on her wrist, or maybe about the bell, I suppose.
And what did you see in my memories?
What is the why are you called the grieving mother?
Here
There's air seems to go still for a moment, and the time stretches as it did before when the two of you first met. There is a wasp of uncertainty from her mind, slowly shaping into question. The swirls and do not coalesce. She does not move. She seems paralyzed, as if you have just wrapped her in the cold blanket.
In asking, we reveal ourselves to each other.
So I named you. As a watcher, you may see what I do not, or your mind shapes the thoughts I project into meaning. There is truth in the title, but it's not all I am.
That is a question for you.
So what did you grieve then?
That is not my name. Although if you wish to hang the
You must have
title
felt it, seen it. It is the name. It has many names as the pain it has caused. As the world takes shape, they seem to tremble from her, the waves, great rushing in your mind. To your surprise, you feel as if you've been touched by the bulwark again, and behind it, cutting through the torrent like a knife, is the thoughts of the grieving mother. There is a wound cut across the belly of the world, a jagged knife that has stripped the stem of the man and carved furrows across the wombs of women. There is much I have forgotten, but I can feel the wound all around me, though it will not let me rest, not let me be. The children have gone silent, yet their voices may be heard again. You're speaking about the Hollowborn. That the word, there is a slowness of breath, as if the word is being weighed, accepted. It doesn't feel natural to her. You can sense it was once known to me, as was much of what unfolded in the outside world. When the curse came upon us, I thought it a small thing, a thing of communities and halves. I thought to stumble as if on weak legs. It was when I walked that I feel it stretch out around me in all the cracks of the world. Children have been cursed. I do not think it was something that they caused, nor something deserved. That which is inside them has been torn away. I do not know how, but this wound must be stitched closed. The world bleeds forth from between a woman's legs. If this blood is not stemmed, the world will die and grow quiet. Do you know the cause? There is desperation and a welling fear. You can almost feel her thoughts shivering as you realise she is lost as you are on the matter, and then suddenly sharp clarity. I so know it, through you, she declares. Your eyes will track the cause, find the path, and I will be beside you. There is no wound that cannot be healed. And if you truly are a watcher, then this wound will be seen for what it is. You saw me when I hid. Whoever's hands have stilled the world, you shall see them too. And when there's no way to heal it, what then? I will be there, and you will do what must be done. You will give me your sight so you can watch the world, and you will tend it. The children shall have their voice again. If your will is weak, then I shall strengthen it. Lean upon me. You feel the weight of her words as if hands are on your shoulders. You feel the questions in your mind lose their edge and become merely words. As I lean upon you, you shall be my eyes, and I shall be your hands when the time comes. Okay, because that's not creepy at all. Dang. Dang. Whew. And that's still there. We'll ask about that stuff next time, but for now we're going to stop here, lords and ladies. If you have liked, please press the like button. If you wish to subscribe, please press the subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Steam, or you can leave a comment in the comment section. I'll get back in contact with you. I've been Cornish-Knight, and this has been Pillars of Eternity. Goodbye.
Your mind comes bearing